Welcome to BadAudiobooks on the TMBC network, and brought to you by our hyper-intelligent supporters on Patreon. I'm Nick Mazmanian, along with my co-host,
Ken Heidelman. Thank you for joining us today on our parody show about good books read badly. So what is coming off the shelf today?
We're going to be journeying further into the woods with an additional reading from Grimm's Fairy Tales. Today's story is going to be Rapunzel, an oldie but a goodie, and everyone's formerly favorite Disney film until Frozen came out.
That's true. Good point.
This seems to have divided a lot of relationships, it seems.
It's the Romeo and Juliet of dividing the street.
I know.
A lot of singing and dancing.
I know Harto on Instagram was just like, "No, my love, you like Rapunzel or Tangled better than Frozen? How dare you?" And there was this whole thing that they went through on their story.
In Instagram more.
Yeah,
I don't even know who that is, but that's great.
Harto, you'd like Harto. She does a lot of like My Drunk Kitchen, and that was the story she started off on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, her.
I'm familiar with
Yeah.
that. I watched an episode or two.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anyway, back to the story that
Back
is
to
Rapunzel.
the dividing people.
So I'm going to be narrating the story. I think we decided that I think that's a good flow. I don't know about you. How do you feel?
Yeah.
We may change it up still, sometimes.
I think we're good to go.
I think if you feel like you really want to narrate, we could totally change. But the point is, we're good
Thank
to go.
you for making me feel welcome to do whatever, to live my truth.
We'll cut that part. Anyways.
No, we're keeping it.
No, we are. We're going to keep that part.
Absolutely. Let's get
Live
rolling
your
here.
truth.
Yes. Let's get rolling.
Okay. Let's limp along.
Let's stumble into this.
Okay, let's keep drunkenly falling through the window. All right. This is on page 88 in the book, in case anybody's following along at home.
Since they know what copy we're using.
Yeah,
They do not.
well, we talked about it last time. It's a
Did
Barnes
we?
& Noble one. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
let's do this.
Let's just jump in. Rapunzel. There was once a man and a woman who had long in vain wished for a child. At length, the woman hoped that God was about to grant her desire.
That's
These people
Okay.
had a little window at the back of their house, from which a splendid garden could be seen, which was full of the most beautiful flowers and herbs. Herbs? How do you say it?
I do it with a silent H.
So you say herbs?
I do say herbs.
Okay. Herbs.
Just like a knife.
Yeah.
The silent K, the silent H, English. I love this language.
I've heard it. Yeah, I know.
I've never spoken ill of this language before.
What rules? Says English. It was, however, surrounded by a high wall, and no one dared to go into it because it belonged to an enchantress who had great power and was dreaded by all the world.
It's pretty famous.
You live next door to the person who's dreaded all around the world.
I think your property value just went down.
The schools gotta not be good in that area. Just gotta say.
Is the world like 100 acres at this point?
I think that they're overstating it a bit. Just overselling that a little bit. They mean for like within the city block. That
We're
is.
talking about windows, gardens, and then the world.
Yeah.
This is the scale they work at.
Most people when they start a story, they go from wide story in. This is going from like window to the entire planet. That's like a jump cut to there. So
Pretty good.
one day the woman was standing by this window and looking down into the garden when she saw a bed which was planted with the most beautiful rampion.
I think it's good.
Rampion? Sure. And it looked so fresh and green that
You're not going to read the, was that a parentheses?
Oh, it's Rapunzel.
Yeah, that's...
Sorry. I guess I jumped that.
No, you jumped that. But that's what Rampion means, is Rapunzel, or Rapunzel means Rampion?
I don't know. Sure.
How do you
I think
think
Rampion means
A
Rapunzel.
grandma told it in the Black Forest 500 years ago to her child. Obviously, that means Rapunzel. We all know that. I've never heard of Rapunzel.
Surely these cultural stories will not reach out the bounds of the German forest. Surely they won't. It looked fresh.
Look at this kid. You know what I'm talking about.
It looked fresh and green, that she longed for it and had the greatest desire to eat some. Apparently it's an edible plant, and not edibles in the fun way. This desire increased every day, and as she knew that she could not get any of it, she quite pined away and looked pale and miserable.
That's weird wording. It's correct, though.
Then her husband was alarmed and asked,
"What aileth thee, dear wife?"
"Ah," she replied, "if I can't get some of that rampion or Rapunzel, which in the garden behind our house to eat, I shall die." The man, who loved her, thought,
"Sooner than let thy wife die, bring her some of that rampion Rapunzeling thyself. Let it cost thee what it will."
That is a dedicated husband or a very simple one. I don't know.
He's not really thinking through his actions.
No,
And
he's just like...
And he stated that.
He's just impetuous. And also, yeah, he said that out loud in the room with her.
No, in his head. He said it in his head.
Was it in his head? Did he say that?
He thought.
He
Yeah.
thought. I read that and I didn't
But
remember.
a classic male figure in modern or past society, he doesn't say anything out loud. He doesn't talk about how much he loves his wife.
No. He keeps it inside.
Keeps
Keeps it inside.
Buried.
Deep.
Keeps those feelings buried.
Nope.
Don't express them.
Nope. He just probably even just, when she said that, he was just like, he probably just nodded. In her head, she's like, does he want me to die?
Am I about to become part of another story?
In the twilight of the evening, he clambered down over the wall into the garden of the enchantress, hastily clutched a handful of rampion, and took it to his wife. She at once made herself a salad
Riveting.
of it and ate it with much relish.
Literally or
She
figurative
that is the
relish?
best. That is some organic butter lettuce, homemade butter lettuce. So,
Are we at a restaurant seeing like this is not that
hang
fascinating.
on, wait. She, however, liked it so much, so very much, that the next day she longed for it 3 times as much as before, which, as you know, is more than before.
This is a theme in Grimm's Fairy Tales is if you did it once, do it 3 to 4 more times.
Yeah, I can't wait to say Rapunzel, let down your hair about 5 times.
Oh
in the
my
story,
God.
If the Cinderella is any kind of a barometer. So let's get into it. There we go. So very much that the next day she longed for it 3 times as much as she did before. If he was to have any rest, her husband must once more descend into the garden. In the gloom of evening, therefore, he let himself down again. But when he clambered down the wall, he was terribly afraid, for he saw this enchantress standing before him. You want me to be the enchant? Okay, I guess I'll be the enchantress.
Yeah.
How canst thou dare, she said with an angry look, to descend into my garden and steal my rampion like a thief? Thou shalt suffer for it.
Ah!
He answered he.
Let mercy take the place of justice. I only made up my mind to do it out of necessity. My wife saw your rampion from the window and felt such a longing for it that she would have died if she had not got some to eat.
Then the enchantress allowed her anger to be softened, and said to him, If the case be as thou sayest, I will allow thee to take away with thee as much rampion as thou wilt. Only I make one condition. Thou must give me the child which thy wife will bring into the world. It shall be treated well, and I will care for it like a mother.
So it's iceberg lettuce in trade of
Dude,
child.
Children are just completely worthless in this world.
Their currency.
Yeah,
Their currency.
It's just like, you want that thing done for you? I'll take your firstborn. Hey, you want me to paint your house? I'll take your firstborn. You want me to tune up your car?
First and second.
Damn, that's an expensive auto fix.
Hey, man, you see many cars rocking down the street in these times?
Future mobile. Powered by magic. Then hang on, let me go. The man was in his terror, consented to everything without talking to his wife at all.
I consent! You have my consent! See, a man will consent. He always has to make sure a man consents. Women, not so much.
They're
But
the ones actually
the man consented.
They're the ones that actually have to make the damn thing. And when the woman was brought to bed, the enchantress... When the woman was brought to bed, the enchantress appeared once more.
Whoa, wait.
Before you finish.
Wait, I'm sorry, yeah, it was...
Gave the child the name Rapunzel and took it away with her. Wait, did they bone and she insta-preggers? And like...
Maybe brought to bed. I was thinking that was when they were getting down. But
I
maybe
thought so too.
Brought to bed was when she was having the child. So
But,
we just in one sentence, literally, he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so afraid!" And it's hard cut to
and
child.
And in the background, he's like, "This lettuce is shit.
This is really not that good. How much? You've been eating this for 9 months."
And hang on. The thing that's funny is the mom doesn't say anything. It just jumps in. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful child beneath the sun. When she was 12 years old, the enchantress shut her into a tower, which lay in the forest and had neither stairs nor door. But quite at the top was a little window. When the enchantress wanted to go in, she placed herself beneath it and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down thy hair to me." Rapunzel had magnificent long hair, fine as spun gold, and when she heard the voice of the enchantress, she unfastened her braided tresses?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Wound them round one of the hooks of the window above, and then the hair fell 20 ells down.
Everyone knows a good a flight of stairs is...
You know, a house is 25 ells, so that's some long hair. That's the metric system. And the enchantress climbed up by it. After a year or two, it came to pass that the king's son rode through the forest and went by the tower. Then he heard a song.
Man, time is really going by fast in
the story. This is... The guy who edited this is like, we don't need all this filler. We don't need to know about the mom. We don't care about that. We don't need to know that much about her.
2 pages is filler, but... Then
we just need to know about
forward. Everyone's bored, so it's like
let's get to the boning. Okay, we're there. Okay, we're having the baby, and here's the kid. Okay, here we go. Rapunzel had a magnificent. Okay, there we go. Then he heard a song, charming as he stood and listened. This was Rapunzel, who in her solitude passed her time in letting her sweet voice resound. This lady doesn't have any books for her to read or anything up in that tower. She's just like...
She's just doing solo bits. She's got a fucking EP coming out soon.
She's dropping mixtapes into the forest. She's just like, here you go. And no one there to listen. The king's son wanted to climb up to her and looked for the door of the tower, but none was to be found. He rode home, but the singing had so deeply touched his heart that every day he went out into the forest and listened to it. Once, when he was thus standing behind a tree, he saw that the enchantress came there, and he heard how she cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down thy hair!" Then Rapunzel let down the braids of her hair, and the enchantress climbed up to her. I think that's him.
Okay, it's him.
Yeah, okay, we're good.
"If that is the ladder by which one mounts, I will for once try my fortune."
Oh, damn. Surfer Prince, said he, the next day when it began to grow dark. When it began to grow dark, he went to the tower and cried,
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down thy hair."
Damn, Bill. Or are you Ted? I think you were Ted than Bill.
Whoa.
Immediately, the hair fell down, and the king's son climbed up. He's getting his gains in. At first, Rapunzel was terribly frightened when a man such as her eyes had never yet beheld came to her. But the king's son began to talk to her quite like a friend.
"Sup, bro?"
Damn, getting so familiar so quickly. And he had been friend, and told her that his heart had been so stirred that it had let him have no rest. And
"I can't sleep."
Got insomnia.
I'm up all night. Think about yo.
Okay. He had been forced to see her. Then Rapunzel lost her fear, and when he asked her if she would take him for her husband, and she saw that he was young and handsome, she thought, okay.
You can do it.
Okay. He will love me more than the old Dame Gothel does. And she said yes. And wait a minute.
The old Dame Gothel. Everyone knows that metric.
Yeah, it's just... the lady kidnapped me when I was a baby, but, this guy clearly must love me more than she does. And he's so handsome. Look how handsome. I gotta marry him. What other choices? All the women's choices in these stories are terrible. They're either lost in the woods, locked in with hay, gonna die.
Continue to be in prison.
Get stalked forever, or marry this guy,
or get married, get married.
Get married. You should just get married. Just get married. Just never do anything else. Just get married. It's just like, what?
Would you like to be devoured by wolves, babe? You want to starve to death by yourself, or hang out with me for the rest of your life?
I would rather just. Can we leave? Do you have a convertible?
Can I die here in this tower?
That is an option. Yes. I have my pride. He will love me more than Great Dame does, and he laid her hand in his. She said, I will willingly go away with thee, but I do not know how to get down. Bring with thee a skin of silk every time thou comest, and I will weave a ladder with it, and when that is ready, I will descend, and thou wilt take me on thy horse.
Cool.
Shaka. They agreed that until the next time he should come to her every evening, for the old woman came by day. The enchantress remarked nothing of this until once Rapunzel said to her, Tell me, Dame Gothel, how it happens that you are so much heavier for me to draw up than the young king's son. He is with me in a moment.
Babe, you're giving it all away.
I was about to say, I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you doing?
She has nothing else to talk about at all.
Is she just that starved for human interaction that she's going to give away the whole escape plan?
She just did.
I know.
Every bit of it.
And hang on.
And who it is, who they're related to.
Hang on. Who constructed this tower is my question. Like, who built this thing in the middle of the forest? It has nothing in it. There's nothing
around.
Where
do the stairs go? What is below the first and second, the top two stories?
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that there's two. I'm giving it twice as many as they mention.
It's a one-bedroom studio loft in
how many
a very gardened area. And what?
20 L's down. So the top two L's. What's the other 18?
Hang on. I gotta know how I gotta see if I can find. I'm gonna take a detour for a second. I want to see how long it.
While you're looking that up. Yeah. Maybe now's a good time to take a break and bring in some of our sponsors for the
right. What a segue
for the Bad Audiobooks podcast.
Yes.
You've got a book, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Nick, whatever you're called.
Yeah, I am called Nick, but you may call me Maz. I don't know, but I have a book called Margot Flint and the Last Soldier. It's available on Amazon. It is a good science fiction story that I wrote today. And no, I am not reading off copy. I am literally talking like this in this moment as I'm trying to find the measurements
of bold choice.
L's. What? Trying to do two things at once? Yes, it is. Now, Kent, I also heard that you draw things.
Yeah. I am an artist. I'm also a writer, and I wrote and drew. Yeah. I wrote and drew a book called Scariest and Screamforth. It is a comic you can read for free online at scariestandScreamforth.com. It's a spooky, cute story about 3 kid monsters in a monster town trying to solve a mystery. So yeah, go read it. If you know how to read, you should read my comic. Go check it out. You, sir, Nick, as the people call you.
Yeah.
You've got a business.
Yeah, indeed I do, Kent.
I've actually gotten things from your business.
You have. It's called Renegade Goods. And you can find it on renegadegoods.com. We are a whole, we provide laser services for any goods in which you wish to make. Currently, we make a lot of book-related items.
Craft stuff. Yeah.
Well,
craft. You're not going to laser off my hair, are you?
Well, I mean, I could try, but I don't know how much I would be able to take off, but,
I am fairly bald.
So. Well, so am I, so, two chrome domes here talking about lasers, in which we were probably. I'm about to say the laser would probably just reflect off the top of our heads anyway. So.
There you go.
But
That's a little Iron Man, Captain America team up there.
woo! And road trip. So yeah, it's renegadegoods.com. Hit us up if you have any custom things you wish to have made, or if you like any of the incredibly cute and awesome items that we make, including genre book dividers for your at-home library and leather goods that include jewelry. RenegadeGoods.com.
Yeah, I got a cool keychain from there of my own character that I custom cut with laser, which was really cool. So yeah, go check it out. I recommend them. And
right. And then
we've got our sister show. One of our many sister shows on the TMBC network is That Might Be Cool. It used to be called the Savage Land podcast, but has transformed as of recent to That Might Be Cool podcast, which is about our not our host, but our friend of the, probably future friend of the show, Jason Hammonds, who hosts a show where he has guests. Right now they're going through a review of every single MCU movie up to this date, getting ready for Avengers Endgame, which is a topical movie coming out this year as of the recording of this podcast. But they're doing a breakdown. I myself was a guest on the Thor Dark World one, which was funny because that's got one of the worst ones out of the bunch.
Yeah,
according to some. It's not bad, though.
I actually have never seen that one.
That's how good it is.
Am I missing anything? Except for, I know Natalie Portman, I think, exits from the franchise in that one. So, spoilers.
I don't know how much you're missing at this point. Because, I mean, so many movies later, what does the older ones have to...
Yeah, they have nothing to do with
it.
Yeah,
they don't. It's always moving.
So
anyways, that's the That Might Be Cool podcast. And, yeah, we've got a lot of cool stuff to check out there. So if you've got time, go check those out. But coming back into Rapunzel, the story... What did you find out about L's as a unit of measurement for buildings?
So an L is a proto-Germanic unit of measurement. It is...
Like German?
Yeah, it's about 18 inches.
Das ist Deutschland.
Yeah, it's about 18 inches or 457 millimeters. So according to this, there are 20...
So it's a foot and a half.
L's. Hang on, there are 20 L's. Let me get my math pulled up.
30?
Hold on.
30 feet tall?
Yeah, 30 feet tall. So how tall is
That's not very tall.
I know. How tall is a standard house? I think a story is considered 10 feet.
So it's
a 3-story house. That's still a lot of hair to grow.
It's still a lot of hair. Obviously, it's a lot of hair, but man, I was imagining a really dramatic, tall tower.
Yeah, I mean, it's always reimagined as that. So yeah, it's only 30 feet.
I guess back in medieval times, 3 stories tall. Oh my God!
Don't do it!
You can't even see the top of it.
We dare defy God by building this monstrosity. Did we not learn from Babel?
They'll smite us for our arrogance.
Cut to Stark Tower. Anyway, so
that is man, what a the visual for this is totally changed.
All right. So on that bombshell, let's get back to the story. Okay, she just revealed her entire plan to her crazy wizard, enchantress captor, who then says,
Dame Gothel. She had no proper introduction into the story.
No, not at all. If there's anything we've learned from Grimm's Fairy Tales, is that details. What are those? Ah, thou wicked child! Cried the enchantress. What do I hear thee say? I thought I had separated thee from all the world, and yet thou hast deceived me. Hang on, the whole world is very small measurement in this book. Like the whole world, this entire forest.
Yeah, she's the most wicked lady in all the world, apparently.
Yeah. In her anger, she clutched Rapunzel's beautiful tresses, wrapped them twice round her left hand, seized a pair of scissors with the right, and snip, snip, cut them off. And the lovely braids lay on the ground. She was so pitiless that she took poor Rapunzel into a desert where she had to live in a great grief and misery. Wait a minute. Did they actually
happened in that
wait a minute.
2 sentences?
Are they still in the hang on, let's find out.
No, she said desert.
Yeah, into a desert. Okay. Cool. We're now in the Saharas, but there's still a tower.
On buckle up.
On the same day, however, that she cast out Rapunzel, the enchantress in the evening fastened the braids of hair which she had cut off to the hook in the window, and when the king's son came and cried,
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let down thy hair!
she let the hair down.
Oh, snap.
Shit's about to go off. The king's son ascended, but he did not find his dearest Rapunzel above, but the enchantress, who gazed at him with wicked and venomous looks. Aha! She cried mockingly. Thou wouldst fetch my... Sorry. Enchantress's voice is tearing up my throat. Thou hast fetched thy dearest, but the beautiful bird sits no longer singing in the nest. The cat has got it, and will scratch out thy eyes as well.
No!
Rapunzel! Thank you for those interjections.
I need something.
I know, right? This is very heavy on me. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to stare and let you narrate monologue. I've got no exit except the one that I just came into. I've got no options. I'm a young man that's probably stronger than you.
She has
and I'm wearing probably some sort of armor, leather or mail.
She's got scoliosis of the spine and a bathrobe. She's the most frightening thing you've ever come across. Roll for her. Roll for her.
Giving the timeline, she's at least 36 years old.
Oh my God.
Probably not her age. She's probably in her 50s, which means she's 1,000 years old, given the medieval period.
Rapunzel is lost to thee. Thou wilt never see her more.
Oh, no!
The king's son was beside himself with pain. And in his despair, he leapt down from the tower. He escaped
Goodbye, this all cruel world!
Oh my God. He escaped with his life, but the thorns into which he fell pierced his eyes. Then he wandered quite blind about the forest, ate nothing but roots and berries. It's turned into a survival story so quickly.
We've got desert survival, we've got no eyes survival.
And did nothing but lament and weep over his loss, the loss of his dearest wife.
We got married in one of those cutscenes. Between one of those cutscenes.
Thus he roamed about in misery for some years, and at length came to the desert where Rapunzel, with the twins to which she had given birth, a boy and a girl.
We'd gotten down. There was no pastor to marry us, but we did it anyway.
There wasn't even a captain of the ship. Lived in wretchedness. He heard a voice, and it seemed so familiar to him that he went towards it. And when he approached, Rapunzel knew him and fell on his neck and wept. I'm about to say that she'd break it. Two of her tears wetted his eyes, and they grew clear again. and he could see with them as before.
This was really convenient that I came upon you.
How fortuitous! He led her to his kingdom, where he was joyfully received, and they lived for a long time afterwards, happy and contentedly boning.
Is that the end?
That was the end.
That was a lot of twists and turns. I don't remember that in any of the children's versions that we read as kids.
No, not
Eyes
at all.
getting destroyed and reassembled very quickly in the third act.
How about getting married? How about the whole thing of, okay, they get proposed. Getting married, planning the wedding, getting married, boning, and then her not being mentioning at all that she was pregnant at all, and then just randomly having two twins. She could have been pulling a fast one and been like, oh God, here comes the hot ticket. Hey, there's these babies that we made together. They're yours. I promise.
The part that blows my mind is the enchantress kept her up in the tower all this time, and as soon as she's met a single person, she then gets rid of her.
Yeah, I don't
permanently. She's like, you're done. You're out of here. I gave you this tower, and all we had to do was agree to this agreement. That
this was a rent-free place for you to live in and grow as an individual, and yet here you are marrying the first man that came across. What if she's like the feminist icon in this story? What if she's trying to empower Rapunzel, but only to find her to be a goat, or not a goat, a sheep, and just falling in line with the status quo? And she's like, "Get out! Leave!"
I guess. That
Because
doesn't really
there's no
make
other
s-
plan.
that
Why
doesn't-
else would you do this?
None of it makes sense.
It doesn't.
Make sense. None of it makes sense.
She had no game. She had no end game. That's the one thing that really makes sense is that she's like, look, you really don't need to get married. You can stay in this tower forever. Look, you get to sing and pay no rent.
I don't understand the Enchantress's
Motives?
Motives. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's the motivation there?
I don't even know if you're looking at the stories here. This story, I don't even get why it became such a thing.
Why is it? Where's the metaphor that this taught anyone? What is the possible metaphor?
the quality of salad is based off of the price in which you pay for it. That salad was so damn good. You're
That's
going to
it.
give away your baby.
That is it. The quality of salad is the price you pay for it. That is the takeaway for Rapunzel. That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Close out on that.
If you want to review us, head over to wherever you want to review us. iTunes is probably the best place. It's the one where we can easily read the most. If you give us a comment or some sort of review written out there, we will read it on the air as long as it's not hateful.
Or anything that makes us go, what? No, I'm joking. We'll read it.
Yeah, we'll
Post
probably
by
read
anything. Yeah, so why don't you reach out to us on the following social media? We're all on Instagram. You can follow this show's podcast, or the podcast that is the show, on social media at BadAudiobooks on Instagram. And then you can follow me at RealHumanMaz on Instagram.
Yeah, and you can follow me, Kent, at Kent Heidelman on Instagram. That's the best place to follow me. I've got some pictures of drawings that I post up there and latest and greatest on what's happening with the comics. You can also check out the Patreon for this show at patreon.com/BadAudiobooks. So yeah, there's different benefits of being a patron to us. You go check those out, the details there. That's pretty much it.
And on that note, dear readers, we bid thee adieu.